Hello and welcome back to another photo video editing video, if that makes sense. So what we did last time in the video is correct blemishes, skin imperfections, dimples, spots, things like that. Let's just compare what we did just to recap. Got rid of, maybe ugly, what some people might say ugly, highlights, shadows, and we've just smoothed out tone in the face to give a more even look. Let's just go across the image, especially here on the forehead. You can see here I've smoothed it out, but at the same time adding sharpness and grain to create the effect of ISO grain to make her skin look really nice and smooth. This is obviously the corrected one. This is the before. Pressing Y again, zoom out. So in this video we're going to talk about lightening up the eyes, giving a bit of clarity to the hair, making the front and the center of the image stand out. This is portrait photography, so some people might want to put vignettes to make the center of the photo stand out. Not my kind of style, but one might want to do this. So first things first, we're going to edit the colors, lightness, exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, blacks, all that kind of stuff. So let's jump right into it. So first things first, it's quite moody, it's quite dark. So I like to do first, it's kind of like a basic color correction video, but more to that. This is how I generally edit. I normally have some presets that I've made here, as you can see. Let's just click into these and see if they work for these images. Particular. Oh, that's kind of nice, kind of moody. A bit light and warm. What's this one? Daylight, low contrast. That might be quite nice. Is it going to do anything? Oh, very warm. Not for me, I don't think. So let's go back to previous. Correct the exposure. Double tapping one of these sliders takes it back to the center. So we're going to expose up a bit, make it a bit more light. Taking into consideration we're not clipping the image. Clipping means overexposing the image, or underexposing. Clipping the highlight or a contrast or a setting. So let's just bring this down. That's kind of nice, kind of muted. Bring the contrast down, and I like to just compare by sliding from left to right, left, see what's too much, see what's not enough. So take it back to the middle. I'm going to bring it to the left a bit just to take some of the contrast out, so I can add maybe more saturation to give the effect of contrast. That makes sense. Just how I test things. I'm not doing the same thing to every photograph. I'm editing every single one slightly differently because I need to see where the image needs to be, not how copy and paste a setting from before. Always bring down the highlights. I like to push in a few more blacks. Compare. Yeah, we brightened the image, pulled out a bit of the contrast, and really lightened up the face. And bring the shadow on the face as well. Not too much. It's not HDR photography. Nice. Okay, that's cool. Let's zoom in a bit. Sharpness. Now I'm not going to play too much around the sharpness because that sharpness is to do also with the skin tones and editing that we did in the last video. So let's just bring that down to see that. Okay, yeah, so I need to put a bit more in the image. Cool, that's too much. Yeah, it's too much, so just maybe 30, around 30, something like that. Great, now let's zoom out. Color correction. I do have presets over here, as you can see in the top left area here. It's going to show me an example of one of these presets. I do sometimes like to go along with that, especially with a day of shooting images. I just choose one of these. Maybe one of my favorites here is peach, so I've made a slightly different edit of each one of those, just to see what I like. Scroll down to the bottom here on the right hand side. What people might want to do is bring a bit of vignettes. Not my kind of style, but let's have a look, see if that improves the image. To me, I'm not with that. Honestly, it's like A-level photography. No offense to you guys doing A-level stuff, but everyone's got to do their thing. It's just not my kind of style. Let's bring it over. Oh dear, right. Take that back to the middle. Profile corrections. Great, it's just straightened out the image. What else have we got going on here? Clarity. Clarity is always nice to have a go at. Pushes in some of the detailed definition of the photo. Plays around with the light. trick in editing photographs I've learned is from a famous photographer who worked for GQ, was that pulling down the saturation, because saturation is colour, vibrance brings out, how do you compare vibrance and saturation, but bringing down the true colour and pushing in the vibrance really gives a feel of the colour's there, but it pops more naturally than just adding, for example, really harsh, ugly saturation. I'm going to pull down just a tad, and then we push in slightly more vibrance. It just pushes the colour of the images more naturally, as opposed to just adding blotchy, horrible saturation. So let's compare. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Okay, so tone curve. We want to add in a bit of contrast in the way that an S-curve, a general S-curve, where you make the highlights pop and the shadows really deep and interesting. So I'm going to pull down the darks just a tad, but at the same time pushing up a highlight, making an ever so slight S-curve, really slight, let's see that. More moody now, so let's bring up the darks here in the shadows. Not too much. I realise I put a little bit too much vibrance in it. Okay, yeah, I think I'm happy with what I'm doing so far. So what I'm going to do is what I initially wanted to talk about was eyes, editing the eyes. It's really not difficult in photography, but it is so easy to overdo editing eyes, because you see photos on Instagram and they've just completely made the white really white, and the iris and the colour and the eye really too bright and horrible, and it's just like, you know, that's edited. The whole point of editing photographs is it to be natural. This is for me anyway, to give more of a natural filmic, my kind of style look. But in hindsight here, we just want to make the image better. So, and the eyes, I'm going to start here. So the brush tool, and there is actually an iris enhance tool, and it just gives a general exposure bump and saturation bump. The setting is too much for me, so what I do generally is half it. What was it on before? It is on 50. It was on about there, wasn't it? Yeah, and then, oh no, it was on about 40, so I bring it down about halfway to 20 something, and I bring down, the exposure seems okay at the moment. This is even before I've touched editing the eyes. It's really strange, it just is too much. And then I bring the coolness down just a tad, because sometimes eyes can be a bit too warm, especially with the lighting conditions. So I'm using the scroll here to make the brush tool smaller and bigger, and the bracket left making it smaller, bracket right making it bigger. So to see where we're going to edit, we're going to tick this box, and we're just going to go over it slightly. Now, as you can see, it's slightly gone over to where the black of the eyelashes are, so we're just going to press Alt, just get rid of that. We're not really enhancing that at all. We don't want it to bleed over to the white of the eye, and it's done a quite good job of recognising that. We're going to zoom in a bit more to get an idea of where we're going. Yeah, that's fine. Zoom over to the eye. Again, making it a bit bigger here. Just going over to edit, making sure we're not editing the eyelashes again. Cool. So that's the black of the eye. We're not too bothered about the black of the eye being edited, so we're going to make that 1:1. Unselect that to see what it's done, and you might not see any difference at all, but let's compare pressing Y. Oops. Yeah, you see that? Slight, ever so slight. Don't need to do too much to this, but we do want to see what it might look like if we did too much or a lot. So let's bring it up. Yeah, it might look quite good, but you don't want to do too much. Press done. It does look much better. I'm happy with that. I've overdone it slightly here, so I think I'm going to leave it there. If I put any more saturation to that, for the sake of argument, let's put a bit too much saturation to this and see what it looks like, to where it thought it wants to be. Oh, not quite up there, but yeah, let's give it a go. Zoom out, get real estate for the image. Yeah, a bit too much. So that's the whole point of photography, editing, and what I'm showing you here today. For me, showing you my techniques. So back on the brush tool, selecting the brush edit we want to do. Back on that one, slide it back down to where it was before. I'm happy. I'm going to push the boat out a bit, go from 35 to 38, maybe even 39. Yeah, it's a bit much, isn't it? Pull that down, that exposure. I'm using the on your keyboard up and down arrows to adjust, you know, right down. I think it does it in increments of 10, and it does different increments on different ones. So let's, especially hovering over it, does it? Cool. Happy with that. Press done. Zoom out. Great. Now we've not touched the whites of the eyes yet. I'm just gonna push a bit more brightness into the iris there. Yeah, I'm going to make it look quite nice. So we've not touched the whites of the eyes yet. We could have done on that tool, but that pushes the saturation up as well. So we're going to use another tool. Again, this is a custom. It's gone off the last preset. I'm just going to zero it out. There we go. And exposure, and the whiteness of the eye it's quite warm here. So we're going to pull the temperature down. Not too much, just 10 for an example. I'm pushing up the exposure just by, let's say, 34. Take that to see where we're going. Zoom in a bit. Again, going over to the right eye. Left eye. Not too much there because it's not a lot of digital data we're playing with there. So I'm not going to worry too much about that because it will look too fake. People really make that white sometimes. It's just like, you're just doing it for no reason. Looks awful. Wow, yeah, not too bad, not too bad. See how it's done that? It's very blue over here. Let's press done and see if that looks like a natural edit to me. It looks a bit too white. Honestly, it looks a bit too white. So I'm going to zoom back in, brush tool, select the white part of the image. I'm just going to bring the warmth up just a tad and the brightness down. So it's natural, it's all about being natural. Now as you can see here, it's a bit more blue, and this is more warm. That's just the way the light's fallen on the face and in the eyes of the day. So let's go back into this tool, and we can actually press Alt and minus, pressing this, minus off that area, because I think that's bright enough. Zoom out, here we go. Natural, it's all natural, I like that, I'm not going to touch that anymore. So the second part, or the latter part of the video, is going to be about detail, clarity. We've got a lovely design in her shirt here. We can play around with that, let's have a go. Fill tool, fill it out so I can see. I'm just going to bring the detail out here. So we're going to press the brush tool. It's going to be clarity we're going to try and use now. Is there a clarity one? I don't usually use the current clarity one. I like to dodge as well, just a tad. It just brings up the lightness. Basically all it's done is brought up the exposure just a tad, but at the same time bringing some saturation, bring in some contrast, pull the black. Is there a black slider? No, there's a contrast tool. And let's just see where we're going. I'm just going to lightly go over the image here, the design here. Wow, I've done that tool a bit big, haven't I? It's not very good. But we're going to minus off what we don't want. It seems a bit counterproductive, but there we go. I've finished it now. We don't have to be too exact with this, you know. We could really get in there and pen tool it. This is just bring out the general. It might look too fake if we do that, so but this is just an easy way, quick way. And it does the job, it does what I'm intending to do today. So let's unselect that, see what it's done. I can't actually tell what it's done. It's not a lot so far, so that's why I'm going to play with the sliders. Might be a bit bright, bring that back down again. Very purple. Yep, that's nice. Compare. It's very slight, but it's just a little nice touch edit. Cool. It's like a standing point in the image. Happy. So now, hair. Really nice hair here. It was very windy that day, so we tried to make the most of it. we're going to go to this tool again, and it's going to be a custom tool, but at the same time we're going to just select dodge. And what I tend to do is just edit a couple of these, so a bit of contrast. I like the highlights here. I'm going to enhance the highlights, and I'll bring up the shadows at the same time. Lots of clarity, not too much, but lots, and not too much saturation. We're not pushing that bit of sharpness as well. So really gives the sort of planar field of focus and enhancement. So pressing this, and this is just once over. See here how it's gone on the glass. So I'm just going to minus that out as we go. Just being careful not to overlap, because it's a waste of time if you're going to be using this tool to make it really big here. There's no point making it too big. Then you're just doing yourself out of time. And time is money. So you've got to be conscious of that. Quite a lot of highlight here, so I'm just going to do a little bit over here. Great. It's really easy having this scroll on my mouse, so I can just make the size of the brush smaller or larger on tap. Just forgetting the ends here. Careful not to go on the skin. Getting every bit of the relevant hair that we want to. Unselect, see what we've done. Oh, it's a bit much. Let's bring the clarity down and the contrast down. I want to bring the highlights down, I think. Come on, computer, let's have a look. Let's just compare what it could be. Oh, yeah, that's quite a bit. Bring the brightness up. A bit of saturation as well. As you can see here, I've got a bit of red. I don't want that. It's just a reflection of the of these doors here. So I'm going to. I think I'm happy with the hair so far. If I put too much clarity and sharpness into it, it's going to make it look greasy. We don't really want that, do we? Let's bring that down a bit. The shadows. Okay, so the hair here, the green, the red hair. Custom slider, zero these out. I'm going to bring that saturation down. Here, just going to go over, see where we're going. And that saturation. Take it again. Pull the red out of the image. Oh, no. That's not what I want to do. Red, all the red, saturation of the red down. Cool, okay. This area again. There we go. It's not as prominent and not as distracting. Happy with this. Really happy with this so far. Let's just compare. So what have we done? We've enhanced the eyes, we've fixed the skin in the last video, we pulled up the shadows of the image, and we've sorted out some of the hair just quickly. But I've just noticed here we've forgotten the lips, something that we might want to look at as well. Especially in model editing and photography, the model might want them to look, as one might think, more attractive or more desirable. But you know, this is my cousin here. She's beautiful, fantastic model for the day. We're not doing anything fake here. We're just on her request making the photo what she might think is nicer. And here we've enhanced the image and the photo here as well through editing, lightness, shadow, darkness. So let's do custom tool, a bit more saturation and a bit more lightness as well, contrast. Let's just see where we're going there. Let me just brush a bit bigger. Cool. Don't forget to do the edges in case there's still some there. Right, unselect. Yeah, fantastic. Not too much, it's just a subtle change. A bit more contrast in there. Let's see what that does. We're just pushing it up here just to see what it looks like. Let's just zoom out one. That's a bit too fake, isn't it? So we're just going to pull it down half of that. That looks really nice. I might pull it down just a tad more, it looks a bit fake. It's only fractional, but it's all in the name of photography. Great, press done, zoom out. And that is how we edit the eyes, and we've done a bit of detail in the hair, we fixed up the iris, and we've enhanced the lips, we brought out the detail as well in her shirt. So thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to do another one of these videos and for you watching them. So thanks very much. Bye.